Welcome to Slice of Life, the Brooklyn Cyclones' new daily show where we try to do our best to have some fun during this whole craziness. That's Billy Harner. My name is Keith Raad. Billy is the Director of Communications. I am your broadcaster. Bill, this is where you come in because this is your baby. I love this idea. Did we steal this idea? We stole the idea, right?
I mean, like every great idea, somebody else came up with it, and we stole it. So, there's I'm a dad. I'm at home. I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my wife and I are trying to stay as informed as we can. But it's difficult to turn off Disney Junior and Paw Patrol and whatever else is going on and watch the news because there's a lot of scary stuff going on. And my 5-year-old is at the point where he's starting to understand what's going on, and you don't want to scare him too much with all these talks of doom and gloom and everything that's going on in the world. To be honest, I mean, it's a scary place. It's a scary time. So our idea here is to try to bring some joy and levity to what's going on and show the good things that are going on in the world. So like you said, John Krasinski from The Office has been doing something called SGN, the Some Good News, where he's once a week he's been taking some of the things he sees on Twitter and reading about in papers and different things and trying to bring it to the world and bring some joy to people and some smiles. So I figured John Krasinski has been on The Office, he's been in Jack Ryan, he's been in all these movies, he's award-winning. I was an actor in 8th grade. I was George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. So we're basically the same person. We have the same skill set. So I figured why not give it a shot and try to come up with something creative here and bring some fun out there.
This is a very interesting situation. I didn't even know that you were George Bailey.
Oh, yeah. 8th grade, junior high school. That was me. The Christmas Spectacular. I was George Bailey. And from there, here I am.
All right, so first things first, our first segment, favorite social slice. So in that regard of the whole John Krasinski thing and this lovely idea and finding out some of your hidden talents, you're a big Broadway guy. So what is the first one we're looking at today?
You wouldn't know by looking at me, can't judge a book by its cover, but I'm a big musical guy. My wife and I try to go to Broadway whenever we got opportunity. Before we had these two kids, we used to go pretty regularly, once a month, something like that, night out in the town and see a show. It's always enjoyable, something that I've always enjoyed. And I think part of the New York experience is pretty unique. So with that in mind, something that I've seen on social media in the last few weeks that's been impressive is people showing their musical talents. There was opera singers in Italy on their balcony performing for their neighborhood, and people on their balcony playing the keyboard, and their next door neighbor was playing the saxophone, and somebody else joined in on the guitar in sort of an impromptu jam session. So for me, last week on the James Corden show, he had his first from home broadcast and was talking about what's going on in the world and how we're all so isolated and feeling alone. And he had Ben Platt from Dear Evan Hansen come on and perform with the cast of Dear Evan Hansen, and it was a song called "You Are Not Alone." It's probably the most popular song from the show, and it really just sort of hit you right in the feels. You will be found. It's a very powerful to see these people coming together, and the way they put it together is similar to this with a Zoom, but they had everybody from the ensemble come together and then perform, and just the lyrics and the words really were very appropriate for I think what a lot of us are feeling nowadays. And then last night with John Krasinski with his SGN, a little girl named Aubrey who was 9 years old, who was supposed to go see Hamilton in Jacksonville with her family for her birthday. So she was very, very sad that she wasn't able to go. But instead, they stayed at home and they watched Mary Poppins on TV, or the video of it. And John Krasinski, who happens to be married to Emily Blunt, who played the role of Mary Poppins, of course, pops in at that point and surprises the young girl, who was very excited. She'd never seen The Office, but knew about the memes, which I thought was spectacular. But then as they continued their conversation, John, in his infinite wisdom and infinite power, being Jim Halpert,
Yes.
and Jack Ryan, I've seen that show too. Jack Ryan can do anything by himself. He saves the world one day at a time. He got Lin-Manuel Miranda and the entire cast of the original Hamilton to come together and sing the introduction to Hamilton.
Beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain. Put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain.
The word got around, they said.
Those are two things that are sticking out to me on social, and things that I was jealous that I was not a part of, because I think in a past life, or if I could do anything else, I'd like to have some type of musical skill, but I'm not at that part in my life.
Which is your favorite show that you've seen, favorite musical that you've seen?
I saw relatively recently, I went to see Hamilton with my wife. We went and saw it for our anniversary last October. And it was just, I mean, I like hip hop music to begin with, and I like history. So it sort of hit the crossroads of things that I'm interested in to begin with. So that was absolutely just game changer, mind blowing, everything that people say it is. So that was great. And then the first time I ever saw The Lion King, I went with my family. When it first came out on Broadway, I mean, I was probably in a freshman or sophomore in high school at that point. We went as a family, and just the artistry of, the costumes and them coming out and how they recreate a cartoon into real life, before everybody started doing the remakes and stuff like that now on Disney Plus. But that was the kind of thing you sat and you were like, wow, this is amazing. They're doing a sunset with sheets and they have giraffes walking around, and it was like something I had never seen before. So those two things stand out to me as some of the things on Broadway that have just been unlike anything else.
Well, you said Lion King. I have a surprise for you, Bill.
Yes.
Singing Someone Saves the Lion tonight. Here's the cast of Lion King.
We're not at that point yet. Hopefully this goes well. Hopefully this goes well, and we can pull some strings like that. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, that's amazing. And no, nobody's coming on the show from Broadway quite yet. But so that was something that you saw.
And we'll be there soon.
We'll be there when Slice of Life takes off. We'll be there.
Yeah.
The thing that I saw, obviously, everyone's watching these press conferences every single day, trying to figure out what's going on. Anthony Fauci, this doctor who is just this little guy, he got up there on the microphone. He said like 3 words. And I was like, hold on a minute. Where is this guy from? And it turns out he's from Brooklyn. He grew up like a couple blocks away from the stadium. It's MCU Park, pretty amazing. And then as we find out about Tony Fauci, also known as Dr. Anthony Fauci, he went to Regis. Not only did he go to Regis, but he was a basketball player. And these photos were surfacing on Instagram. Unbelievable. This guy, quite an athlete. And you're a huge Duke fan. And Coach K, all of a sudden, is a big Fauci guy. Now, what did you see?
Yeah, so I went to Xavier High School in Manhattan, and Xavier and Regis are the Hatfields and McCoy of Jesuit high schools in Manhattan. So to see anything good come from Regis was a little upsetting for me personally. But yeah, Dr. Fauci, I mean, I read he grew up on 83rd Street and 13th Avenue, so right in the heart of Bensonhurst, Dyker Heights, whatever you want to call it in that area. And then he used to be the delivery guy for his family's pharmacy. They lived above it. He was riding his bike around delivering stuff. And then I saw Dr. Fauci was on with Coach K, where I thought it was very appropriate when it stood out to me when Coach K introduced Dr. Fauci as America's point guard, which considering where he is in terms of leading our country at this point, but also considering his tie-in to basketball as well, I thought was pretty entertaining.
He's a legend already, and we'll see as his legend grows, especially in Brooklyn.
And like all good things, everything starts in Brooklyn, That's right. What they say, or that's at least what I say.
Segment 2 is a segment we like to call Chicken Parm Heroes. And if you're wondering, what are they doing? We at the Cyclones, we work hard, but from 12 to 1, usually somewhere in that time frame, especially in the off season, the entire office basically eats together. And every Friday we get some L&B Spumoni Gardens, and I don't mean to name drop. Up there,
No free plugs, right? That's the rule.
No. Up there is one of the top slices ever. So just slice of life, pizza, Italian, Brooklyn. It's just part of our heritage, and especially working at the Cyclones. You've been there longer than I have. Some of those lunch conversations are outrageous. Let's just say.
Yeah, that's sort of what we envision this whole thing to be. Is a distraction from what's going on, and that's what lunch is for us. We work really hard. We have a lot going on during the days, but we shut down for about an hour a day, and everybody sits and has their lunch, and we talk about movies. We talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about silly things and make each other laugh, and sometimes you actually learn something. So we hope this is a little bit of a microcosm of what a lunch experience at the Cyclones is like.
So one of the hero stories that I found is literally a layup for this slice of life. It's called Project Pizza, which a buddy of mine I went shopping at high school with on Long Island, kind of lost touch with him a little bit, but then saw him on LinkedIn the other day doing this Project Pizza. He has nothing to do with charities. He has a kind of a regular day job, but has decided to use this time to give back. And you hear stories about companies making 100,000 masks or 500,000 this or that, and there's such big numbers, and you think, well, what can I do? And Brian O'Connor, who I went to high school with, he's doing this by himself. Basically, he's raised almost $3,000, and he told me he's given out hundreds and hundreds of pizzas. And it started locally. He'd reach out to a hospital and say, "Hey, can we get you food?" He said it's moved now to other states. He's delivered pizza like as far as Phoenix. So pretty outrageous for one person to kind of make a difference, because right now you're hearing all these crazy things about companies getting together, but I just wanted to applaud Project Pizza. You can check it out on Facebook if you can find the donation link, but pretty killer.
Yeah, and I think that's for me. There's so many good stories like this. That's why I think we needed to do something like this to really put all these things out in one place for people to see. And there's a lot of scary stuff happening, but as part of that, there's so many great things happening. And the Project Pizza, I think, is one of them. For myself, I'm a frequent visitor of something called Tank's Good News. It's a Instagram, Twitter, website, whatever you want to go with, where they're doing a lot of different stories that we're going to be highlighting here as well, hopefully. And on there, like I said, I'm a dad. I'm stuck here at home with 2 kids under 5, which is a little bit like living in the middle of a beehive, I feel like sometimes. So trying to find some different ways to keep them entertained, and trying to also have them try to live a relatively normal life while staying healthy. So the Roush family in Ohio, they found a very creative way to allow their children, Charlie and Louetta, to interact with kids and people while social distancing. So they're still being part of, being a kid, you want to play, you want to socialize, you want to interact with other people. I mean, that's part of being a kid. It's part of being a human. And a lot of that is tough to do at this point. So what the Roush family did, they have a U-shaped driveway that takes you from a main road back towards their home and then back out on the main drag. So they set up what they are calling a social drive-through, where the kids sit at their front window, they crack them open, and they have a stop and beep policy, where they have anybody who wants to, first responders, anybody that just wants somebody to chat with, their friends, their family, whoever, they have them pull in the driveway, stop and beep from the hours of 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the kids will sit there and chat with you. Awesome. And they've had first responders that are having a rough day stop by, and talking to an 8-year-old girl and a 6-year-old girl, there's no way to let that day get you down when you see their energy and excitement on what that's like. So it's a great thing that I think these parents are doing, this family is doing, and it's a great way of being creative and finding different ways to entertain yourself, doing good things for the community, but also letting kids be kids and interact with people and have some fun. So it's a great thing I saw, and I'm always looking for things to do with my kids here. we don't have a U-shaped driveway, but my kids are pretty loud, so maybe I could just roll down the windows and let them scream to the street. I don't know. We'll see.
I've seen more and more of these videos, especially for like weddings, even that the people are just saying, we're not going to postpone. We'll just do a wedding, drive by, like throw rice in somebody's face. My birthday is coming up in a couple weeks, Bill. So hopefully be driving down 70th Street any day now. Just give me a little hug, throw a cupcake in my window, something.
We'll be there, balloons. It'll be like the Macy's Day Parade. We'll be good. Yeah, these what people are doing and finding different ways to still live a relatively normal life in these extenuating circumstances. There's a guy I saw they did a Zoom wedding where I was so jealous because the dude didn't have to wear a tux. He just wore shorts and a hoodie, and he got married, and his wife was cool with it. Like, this is the perfect excuse to do stuff like that. So this is, I think, part of this that's coming out is the creativity of people and the different ways to just keep on living, man. It's exciting.
Sports, they still exist, even though everything's postponed right now. We're the Brooklyn Cyclones. We're a baseball team, and we are dying to do something at 7 o'clock every single night. Obviously, we have to wait for that. But aside from that, thank God for Twitter. Thank God for reporters and writers that have something to tell us. The other day, Texas Rangers outfielder Shin-Soo Choo decided to help out some of the minor leaguers that at least the full season are not playing right now. Obviously, everything's postponed, and Major League Baseball kind of cut a deal where they're going to be paying every minor leaguer $400 a week, which sounds great when you're at the low levels like the Cyclones, but when you have guys in AA, AAA making $10,000 sometimes a month, this is a little bit different. But Shin-Soo Choo, just lovely, decided to give every minor league player in the Rangers organization $1,000, which is $200 less than the government stimulus package, but certainly does help. So just a nice story because especially you know this, Bill. I mean, minor leaguers, sometimes they're vacuuming up the rug just to see if there's any crumbs down there that they can eat. It's not an easy lifestyle. So $1,000 goes a long way.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you hear professional baseball players, people think of, the Bryce Harper contracts and Clayton Kershaw contracts and stuff like that. And people don't necessarily wrap their heads around the fact that, they're starting off basically as interns. And think about when you were starting in your career, whatever it was, when you were an intern, what you're making. That's basically what minor league guys are making. So for Shin-Soo Choo to do this, there's 190 guys, I think, was in the system. So, I mean, that's a no small donation, I guess, for lack of a better word, from his part. So that was great to see from his aspect. My sports story is a little bit less mainstream, I suppose. I have long stood by the fact that marathon runners and distance runners are the craziest people on the planet. I would not run 26 miles unless I was being chased by a tiger or some other type of jungle cat. I don't understand how people do it. They do it for fun. I get it, man. It's one thing that I will never be able to do, but I have unbelievable respect for.
I ran track 1 year in high school. Sprints, 200 meter, 2x4, whatever. And then you'd sit around and you'd wait for the guys from the 3,200 meter, and they run around this 200 meter track, and there's a guy at the end of the line, and he just holds the paper over. Okay, 16 laps to go, 15 to go, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, no, it's lunacy. It's lunacy. I mean, I've run some 5Ks, and I'm done, and I say, why? Why did I do this? This is crazy. So my man Sam Hustler, first of all, what a name! Just he has to do something spectacular. So Sam Hustler was a guy in London who was training for the London Landmark Half Marathon, which was canceled because of the coronavirus. So he had trained for it, had never done a half marathon before. So he decided that he was going to run it in any way that he possibly could. So he had some symptoms that he thought he could have been asymptomatic. He had a little bit of a fever, he had a little bit of cough, so he didn't want to go out on the streets and be around people and run. So what he did was he went out to his balcony and ran a half marathon, 13 miles. He ran 5,000 laps on his balcony so that he could complete his half marathon. That is unbelievably impressive. B, one of the craziest things I've ever heard, and C, a perfect summation of what a distance runner does. Any means necessary. Rain, sleet, snow, I'm going to go out there and run. Lunatics. 5,000 laps on your balcony. That's insane. It's like being a hamster in a hamster cage or something, man. Like lunacy. But incredible respect to Sam Hustler and all distance runners out there, and still finding a way to live your life again, even in these difficult times.
What bothers me about this, and I respect all athletes, but I'm with you on. I'd rather run somewhere 100 yards instead of running 1,000 meters or whatever it may be. But they have now set the bar even lower for the rest of us to feel bad about ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
If you have any space at all, you have a space in your bathroom around your toilet, well, you should run laps around it 400,000 times.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I'm trying to get my son out in the backyard to run around and burn off some energy, and I get winded doing a couple sprints back and forth, and this dude's doing 5,000 laps on his balcony. I really have no excuse to not be in much better shape. It's really what I got from this.
Well, this has been episode 1 of Slice of Life. And please, as you saw from our format, we are here to smile. We're here to have fun. We're here to find some good stories. So if you find anything that you loved, whether it's a sports story or a hero story or something cool or funny that you saw on social media, please send it to us on Twitter. Send it to us on Instagram. You can email info@brooklyncyclones.com. You can email kraad@brooklyncyclones.com. And you can Billy will give you his home address. You can go stop.
I'm here, man.
Throw us.
I'm here. I got nowhere to go.
All right, Bill. Good job for day 1. I think it worked out well.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, I think we'll probably do tomorrow and see what happens. But well done. Good job.
All right. Don't forget to turn off the oven on your way out.
Oh, see what you did there. Slice. Right. Have a great day, guys. Take care.